Welcome to Sam Outside. I'm Sam and I'm outside, inviting you to do a little bit more with your physical, mental, and emotional well-being by spending time outside. It helps if you know thyself. That's right. So I know for me personally, and for many others that I have the pleasure to work with, that time outside is always time well spent, more specifically time in nature. Um, there is a calm. There is a change that happens with more time, intentional time spent outside. What I mean by intentional time is going outside with the intent of wellness, betterment, improvement. So it's when you walk, it's where you walk, it might even be how you walk, and it's you're not going for a hike, right? You don't have to be out for hours. Even if it's just walking around your house, walking around your yard, walking around your block, walking around your community. If that's not your situation, then yeah, you might have to get on a tram, you might have to get on a bus, you might have to get on a subway, you might have to get an Uber, get a taxi, get somebody on a bike, go for a walk to get there. But what you need to find is a green space. And by green space, I mean the most amount of biodiversity that is accessible to you, that doesn't have as many barriers, that's going to make it feel inconvenient or hard. Try and find some place that doesn't have a cost. And I don't take it for granted. I know that I have a situation where I could spend hours in my own yard, right? It's less than an acre, but we do a lot with it. But I have access to hundreds of acres, and I take full advantage of that. And I'm a dog owner, so I have a responsibility to my border collie, Mr. Indiana Bones, to walk him twice a day. First thing in the morning, typically before the family even rises, which is much easier at this time of year. A bit of a challenge in late winter when the sun doesn't even rise till after 7 in the morning, and it's just not comfortable. But at this time of year, we're about to enter bug season, and that's going to be a barrier, just not comfortable. So first thing in the morning is a little more bug friendly. And they're already out. We're starting to see the odd mosquito, the odd black fly, and there are spider webs everywhere. My eyelashes, my face, my beard, just littered with cobwebs right now, which is a good thing. It shows that I'm aware. It shows that I notice, and I do that by how I spend my time in nature. I make an effort to scan, to notice, to smell, hear those woodpeckers, right? It's that time of year where birds are nesting, wildlife is moving around, newborn are in their dens about to leave. There's a lot happening on the forest floor in terms of flowering perennials, feeding our pollinators, and I'm noticing these things, and it makes me a better person. Um, the more life that I notice, the more life that I interact with, the more appreciation I have for other living things, which by extension means other people. And if you're like me and you work in the service industry, despite what it is you're doing, at some point you are interacting with other human beings, and we don't always get the best version of them. So it can require a great amount of patience and resilience and empathy, but that is more tolerable when we have a greater appreciation of where people are coming from, what other living things need to endure in their circumstances, outside and past and beyond our own limited interactions with other living things and people, right? So spending time in nature does build that appreciation, right? So nature connection, um, people are nature, right? Nature connection allows for that. So being mindful and aware of sounds, smells, feelings, touch, light, movement, contrast, air, the geometry of natural spaces is very calming and soothing and needed by our brain, by our animal brain. It's called the Biolithic Theory. We have evolved. We are from nature. Despite where you're physically situated on the planet, um, we have made incredible advancements to proliferate across the globe. Um, and that has its own challenges as far as our ability to feel comfortable, to feel safe, and to connect with nature. And, at different times of year, it's differently possible, but there is an incredible movement that's being recognized not only by individuals, but by society and now by the medical profession to recommend and foster and encourage nature connection, time outside, because it's good for you. It naturally reduces cortisol, the major stress hormone. It has effects, positive effects on those who are dealing with anxiety, depression, trauma, chronic stress. And there are physical ailments that are aided with time spent outside. When they're looking at medical patients in recovery, before and after surgery, the amount of meds and the amount of time required in recovery is reduced by as great as 20% by surrounding as much nature as possible. Nature smells, nature sights, nature sounds, and we can do that in a recovery room, getting more access to windows, color schemes, essential oils, what's playing in the background instead of watching the news, which can create stress. Let's get something more natural. Fresh air and daylight have amazing positive effects, right, on the human brain, on the human state. And if you can move in nature, then yeah, your physical well-being is aided as well. So doctors are recommending nature prescriptions. They're giving them out. It takes a physician, it takes a medical practitioner or nurse to appreciate and understand, advocate, and prescribe a nature prescription. What it does is it invites a medical practitioner to register with a program, and there are a number of them, so depending on where you are. And there are some logs and some tracking, some recommendations for time spent and location, obviously. And there are some practices. And myself, I'm a certified forest therapy guide. I am not a therapist. Nature is the therapist. I'm the guide, which means I've had to spend some time with the course, spent a lot of money, spent a lot of time, 6 months afterwards, just still learning prior to my certification, experiencing this. So I do practice and I do benefit from time in nature, and I share that with clients, with guests who have nature prescriptions, who have a need to lower stress and raise serotonin, endorphins, dopamine, and oxytocin, and we do that on a guided forest therapy walk. Forest bathing is something that is a self-practice, right? That's been happening for a very long time, since the 1980s. The first nature prescription was given in Japan, recommending time spent outside. Forest bathing, otherwise known as Shinrin-yoku, that is something that is an individual effort. The challenge there is that an individual still holds the vessel for time and space, and safety, and all those little things that come and sort of lay in the background of the individual participating in nature connection. And a guide who understands the curriculum and the scaffolding they need for progression and the deepening and the immersion can hold the vessel for things like timing and location and curriculum, and invites the participants to be invested a little more deeply when a lot of those other aspects of what it means to be outdoors is taken on by a trained professional. So time outside is crucial in an ever-changing world bombarded by social media and screen time, which creates stress despite the learning that can be in a format like this. There are still some ramifications that are not always positive with spending time learning and engaging through electronic devices. But it's a vehicle, it's a tool. When used properly, it can do amazing things, which is why I'm sharing with you. So thanks for watching. But we need time outside. So it's all about balance. And we used to be 100% outdoors, and we have been for a very long time, moving further and further away from it, which is why it's becoming more and more of a need. So find your center, know thyself, get some blood work, get some tests, find out how nature can offset. And nature might include things you start to eat, things you start to do, things you start to feel, and get some advice. See a doctor, learn, know thyself, and nature is part of who you used to be, part of who you can be. It's part of who you are. So that's why I advocate, that's why I share, that's why I'm doing this, and that's why I spend so much time outside, mostly with that guy, because it's better for me. It's better for us. Thanks for watching. Please go outside. Change your life. Talk to you again soon.